And it seems that Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who's been in the thick of it all, of course, is now and has already fled to Maldives in a midnight flight, is now likely to be headed to Singapore and then eventually to Jeddah. This on a day when the Sri Lankan government imposed curfew once again in Colombo. But protesters now also saying that they are peacefully withdrawing their occupation of official buildings.
Right. Well, Ankita, it's day 97 of anti-government protests that have been taking place in Sri Lanka. There was that curfew that was put into place till about 5 o'clock in the morning. That curfew has been reinstated. However, the protesters seem to be withdrawing and saying, taking it easy now because they do want, in fact, the president to resign. He is, in fact, now in Maldives. He did reach there Tuesday night at about 3 o'clock local time is when he reached Maldives, but reports are now suggesting that he is going to be flying out of there, and it's Jeddah which is in fact going to be arranging those that plane, that jet, to get him out of Maldives and then take him in fact to Jeddah, Ankita.
Right. So that's the latest that we're hearing as far as Gotabaya Rajapaksa is concerned. Remember, he still hasn't formally given his resignation, which has been the big demand of protesters. However, protesters at this point seeming to back down somewhat from the very fierce protest we saw yesterday. Shrija joining us with the latest on all of this. Shrija, what are we hearing?
Well, there are various conflicting reports that are surfacing at the moment because earlier it was that his final destination is going to be Singapore, and that we understand as a precedent. He enjoyed the immunity from arrest, and so the military had provided him a plane so that he can exit and the country along with his wife and 2 other security guards, and so he landed in Maldives. But however, the final destination plan was until yesterday it was Singapore, but now we understand he will also be taking a plane that is to Singapore, and eventually the final destination is going to be Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. But remember, these are various conflicting reports. You never know until really where he lands, and that's going to be his final destination. But with him hopping from one country to the other country is basically where he hasn't officially resigned from his presidential post here in Sri Lanka at the moment, because we see, though he has sent out a gazette notification talking about where he will, in fact, he's not in a position to discharge his duties, is not really in a position to exercise his duties, and hence he's handing it over to Ranil Wickremesinghe, which means Ranil Wickremesinghe today is the acting president. But as far as Gotabaya Rajapaksa is concerned, since he enjoys the immunity as the president from the arrest, that is one of the reasons why we understand the Air Force was obligated to give him a military plane so that he could escape from his country here in Sri Lanka, while he has left his citizens out there in Lawton while they are suffering from deep economic distress. Now, where exactly, in terms of, where exactly Gotabaya is going to land, what is going to be his destination, that we will know only when he actually lands, because as we speak, there are multiple conflicting reports that are surfacing since late last night onward, because until about late last night, it was just about Singapore. Now, early this morning, we understand several various reports are surfacing that he will be landing in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia.